That's weird. I'm Diana and welcome to my channel. Episode 4 of my series was a little heavy. Sorry about that. I'm going to tell you some of the things that happened to me in the house. This should be more interesting. The first night I spent in the house, I woke up the next morning and Martin had to go to work. I was dating him. Now by this time I knew him well enough to know that he had a very overprotective mother. They were very close, and his relatives even joked with me that I was kind of lucky that I didn't have to meet with her standards like his previous girlfriends. So I also knew by this time that she had served in the army as a WAC, and I knew her name was Norma. So I get up in the morning and Martin has gone to work, and I wake up in this beautiful mansion of this guy that I'm dating. And I was really poor at the time. I was struggling to eat ramen noodles for breakfast and lunch, and I was worried about not having enough fruit, and I'd take lemons from the Subway sandwich shop down the street just to make sure I had enough vitamin C. And I couldn't afford new shoes. I was really like broke. And here was this guy I was dating who was really rich. I had actually moved in with a friend. I only had one box of possessions and a pickup truck, and I was sleeping on her couch. And I was dating this guy who was driving a Porsche and flying to Las Vegas every weekend and running a special effects company, and my friends were kind of blown away by it. But I didn't want that to influence me. I didn't want to, not marry for love. I wanted to just keep my distance from him. When I first met him, I was like, let's just be friends, because I didn't want to be swayed by his money, which is kind of the opposite of what most girls in his life were like. So that made him want me even more. So that's kind of the backstory. So I slept over. So I wake up in the morning and I'm getting ready. I go in the bathroom, which is a long stretch of open space away from the bed. But you can see all the way to the bed, and there's a mirrored dresser that was an antique that used to belong to Martin's mother that's right next to the bed, with an antique lamp with one of those round balls on top and a little key that turns it to turn it on. And I'm way down the hall the other way. There's a door to the bathroom, and before the door is another mirror, which I'm starting to realize now, watching YouTube videos about ghost hunters, that when you have two mirrors facing each other like that, it's considered a portal or a vortex or something. But I don't think that was common knowledge at the time, and not to me, really. I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, brushing my hair, and I turned to my right because I felt like this presence standing by the bed. And there's a woman in an army uniform. It's like a tan army uniform. And she's staring at me like, get out of my house. And it was like really an intense feeling, like she was demanding that I get out. I didn't belong there, leave her son alone. And I kind of just knew instinctively this was Martin's mother right away, because she was wearing the army uniform and she was possessive. And I've seen a lot of ghosts in the past, so it really scares me. So the way to make them disappear is you look away, and then you look back and they're gone. But not this one. I looked away and I looked back, and she was still standing there, still looking at me like, get out. And it was really scary. And I thought, I really love this man. I don't want to do him any harm. What am I gonna do? Stop dating him? So I looked back at the ghost, and I thought in my heart, like, I belong here. I'm not leaving. I'm not going. You need to leave me alone, go away. And then I looked back to the sink, and I waited a second, and I looked back hoping she was gone, and she was gone. She disappeared. So that was the first morning in the house after I'd slept the night over. So then I went downstairs on the same day, and I got down to the dining room, and I was going to go in the kitchen and get some bread and cheese or whatever Martin had said, help yourself. I think we probably had some leftover Chinese food or something. As I walked through the dining room to go to the kitchen, and there on the floor is a $100 bill. And I'm like, this guy is so rich, he doesn't even care about throwing money on the floor. I mean, it was way against the wall, you know, like litter. And I was like short on my rent, no food, just like totally broke. And this was like a massive amount of money to me. And him, it wasn't really that much money. But I just knew I couldn't take it, you know, it's not right. And I feel like it's bad luck to take something that doesn't belong to you, and I'm not in the habit of doing that. But I was super, super tempted because this was a time in my life when I could really use the money. And so I took the $100 bills, I picked it up, and I put it on the countertop with a rock on it. And I went ahead and had something to eat, and oops, I lost my glasses. And I left. And then later I asked him, you know, hey, I saw a $100 bill on your floor. Did you get it? And he said, oh, that was for the maid. And I realized that if I had taken it, the maid wouldn't have had her money, and she would have said, where's my money? And that would have been like the end of my relationship with him. I had asked him, like, why did you throw it on the floor? And he says, oh, I left it on the table and the wind must have blown it down. And then I thought about this later, and I realized that the doors were all closed. So how could the wind blow the $100 off the table? Now I'm recounting the story, you know, in my mind, preparing for this video, and I realized if I was this protective mother, ghost figure, I might have knocked that on the floor, hoping this girl would take it and ruin her relationship with my son so that he could be left alone, you know? And I'm thinking that might be how it got on the floor. Anyway, that was one of the things that happened. Okay, speaking of we're not speaking of it, but I did mention the lamp, this lamp on the side of the bed. This lamp had like a beautiful hand-painted ball on top, and it had a key that turned it on and off. And later when I was married to Martin, that lamp, I feel like his mother was there the whole time we were married. Okay, so I'm married to Martin. We were all, you know, snuggling in the morning, all laying in bed together. Me and Martin, and my son is laying next to Martin. And he's a cute little toddler. And Michael got out of bed, and it's a California king. And he's walking around, the lamp's over here on my side. He's walking around the bed, and Martin said, hey, Michael, go turn on the light. Because I guess he was young enough, we were trying to teach him how to do things, like turn on the light. You know, you can push the button and the light comes on. So we're expecting him to turn around and come back to the wall and push the switch. But Michael's walking around, he's halfway, he points to the lamp and he says, on, and the light goes on. The light goes on. Here's the thing, that lamp hadn't been touched since the night before when I turned it off. But in order to turn it on, you have to turn the key. I'm thinking that lamp was Martin's mother's, so maybe it had something to do with that. There's this other thing. My son had a baby doll, and he named it Knick Knack. It was like a little baby doll. And I thought, that's a weird name. And then my daughter, much later, when she was about that age, was playing around Norma's mirror. And she was looking in the mirror and laughing, and then going around behind the mirror and laughing and talking. And I thought it was cute, so I took a video, right? Now, I didn't think anything of it until last year when I got my videos out, and I was like playing them and trying to see what I had, you know? And I really didn't notice when I was filming anything that was going on in front of me. I was concentrating on framing the shot. So I was playing this video back, and she's like looking, and then she's talking, and she's saying knick-knack. And she did not know about my son's doll knick-knack because my son's doll knick-knack had disappeared, and we stopped talking about it. So I'm gonna ask my sister-in-law, we're gonna see her for Christmas, and I didn't say anything to her. I'm gonna ask her if the name knick-knack means anything to her, and I'll try to record it. But I'm wondering if that's a nickname for Norma. But nonetheless, I asked her, what were you doing? And she said, I was talking to the woman. I thought there was a woman behind the mirror. And inside the mirror, the thing is, when she was little, she was always telling me there was a woman in her room. And I kept saying, there's nobody in your room. And she would be scared, and she'd come in and she'd say, Mom, I can't sleep in there. There's a woman in my room. There's a woman in my room, and she's looking at me. And I'm scared, you know. And I'd go in and I'd say, look, there's no woman in your room. Well, I'm doing the thing that all the parents do to psychic kids where they tell them it doesn't exist, and then they get confused because they saw it, you know. So then I suddenly realized this, and I stopped correcting her and telling her there's nobody there. I said, I can't see it. So one day she was so scared, she came and slept with me, and all night I'm crowded. So I went and slept in her room, and she slept in her room. So I'm in her room, and all of a sudden the door creaks shut. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's the wind. And then I'm hearing footsteps. They sound like they're coming from around me. And then the closet doors rattled. They were like mirrored doors, and they were like rattling a little. Like, I'm in the room, and it kept going on. And after a while, I was like, okay, I can't sleep in here either. So I went and slept with her. But over time, she kind of made peace with whatever that was in her room, because, I mean, I kept asking her, are you scared of it? And she said that she was scared of it. And I said, well, maybe that's your grandma that you've never met. And when she thought about it, you know, she was like a little more open to it, and she wasn't afraid anymore. And so those are the first few stories I have. I got a lot more, but they're not like ghost stories like you read with a beginning, middle, and end always, because they're real. You know, a lot of times it's little things like talking about someone like my dad, and we made this memorial book for my dad, and it's all the pictures of his lifetime, and it's in memory of him. So, you know, talking about my dad, and all of a sudden the book falls over. It's things like that, you know. I'm not going to embellish. I'm not going to create any special effects or anything. I'm just going to talk about reality, because eventually those are the things that are going to hold up. I feel like the coming year, 2020, is called 2020 for a reason. We're going to be able to see more clearly, I think, in 2020, and people are going to, I feel like it's the beginning of people really being aware of the spirit world around them. I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to tell what happened, and maybe we can piece together what is the spirit world in reality. Anyway, next time I'll tell you some of the stories of after Martin died, the things that happened in the house that were unique to Martin. So thanks for watching. Okay, this is really weird, but I was I'm just like astounded that this happened, but I was undecorating, because this is actually the lobby of my apartment building. And I basically use this room because my house is still full of boxes from moving. And I'm redecorating the shelf, and I'm shaking, so I'm so freaked out. Okay, I was gonna put this Picasso book back. I sort of decorated this, right? And I put this book inside here because I kind of needed to make this book open more. I wanted this book to show a little bit. And I basically just put it in here like this. I mean, I didn't use two hands and hold it all level. I'm here. Okay, so there is no way that this could have been here. Okay, so I'm going to take this book down, and I find this penny right here. That is impossible, because I put the book here and I put this on top. I don't know how this penny got here. So then I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the heck? What is this supposed to mean? And I look at the book, I look at the penny. I'm sorry, I'm like stuttering. I'm so freaked out. This penny is 2004, which is the year Martin died. How did this penny get here? It's impossible. I'm really like, okay, this is weird. This is really weird. I don't know what else to say. It's like a brand new 2004 penny.